My name is Teresa Swanstrom, and I am a registered nurse at Essentia, where I have been employed mostly full-time in hospice home care for the past 17 years. I have been a nurse for 29 years in December, and I come before you today to encourage and emphasize the importance of the employers Essentia and St. Luke's to bargain in good faith for a fair labor contract with the Minnesota Nurses Association, and as with the council, come to a positive resolution for our community. It is well known that the last 3 years, our healthcare system has faced crushing stressors, the pandemic, lack of PPE, staffing shortages. In our recent negotiations, as a nurse, it feels as though all of that has been marked as old news, as though it has been ignored and forgotten. Let me remind everyone now, nurses showed up every day. It was absolutely terrifying for us, our families, our patients, but we continued to show up every day, take caseloads far beyond our regular capacity because we had to. Who else could? In the summer of 2021, we now had vaccines, PPE, the numbers of COVID cases went down, but our caseloads did not, and they still have not. We had suffered as well. We not only held people while they died, but saw them die afraid and lonely. Our own sadness grew, our own health deteriorated from constant stress, long work hours, extra shifts, rotating shifts, lack of sleep, and illnesses, including COVID. We saw the fear we caused our own families. We learned about and experienced moral injury and PTSD. I started realizing this job is killing me. I have given everything to this job. I love it, and it is killing me. Governor Walz recently commented that we are a profession of committed, competent, and caring people, but being committed does not mean we took an oath of poverty. May I also add that we did not take an oath until death do we part. I have not survived almost 30 years of nursing without incredible mentors who have shown me how to continuously meet demand after demand at work and passing on a mantra of I can do this, of picking me up when I'm in tears. But now, can I keep doing this? I am 55. Can I continue another 10 to 12 years in the current state of healthcare? Can I honestly tell younger nurses that this is a career that will be rewarding and not be detrimental to their health and the well-being of their families? Essentia's mission statement is the foundation of a promise to the community, and that statement is to make a healthy difference in people's lives. We, the nurses, are the community. We live here. We represent many, many families in this community. Essentia can make, and St. Luke's can make, a healthy difference in people's lives by starting at home. Sure. They can invest locally in their nurses that they already have to retain them. And I ask this council to encourage and push Essentia and St. Luke's to the bargaining table tomorrow and this week with the full intention of bargaining in good faith for a contract that acknowledges all nurses and to complete their process. Promise. Thank you.
Lisa. Clerk Johnson, who do we have next?
The next speaker is Becky Bixby.
Good evening, Becky.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. It's funny, as I look around the room, I'm reminded how strong our community is here in Duluth and the surrounding areas. We help each other shovel out after massive snowstorms. We lend each other a helping hand with yard work, taking trees down. We're tough people. We also like to play tough and rough. We boat, we swim, we hike, we hunt, we fish, we do all the things. But at some point, not by choice, we will require hospital-level care. Maybe it's a complication with a chronic medical issue, a new diagnosis, or an accident like a slip on the ice, motor vehicle incident, or run-in with a chainsaw. We've seen it all. We nurses are here to tell you that our community hospitals here in Duluth are in a state of crisis, a staffing crisis. What does that mean exactly? Well, as nurses, we're with you, monitoring you daily for all hours of the day. Your doctors may come by and see you for 10, 15 minutes, kind of touching base and making sure that your care is adequate and you're moving in the right direction. But it's your nurse who calls the doctor with concerns or changes that they notice at your bedside. Changes occur rapidly in a hospital. If your nurse is assigned too many patients, will he or she notice the changes in your blood pressure, your breathing, level of consciousness, or your lab work. If a nurse has too many patients and they all need time-critical medications, stat imaging, stat labs, pain medicines, nausea medicines, close monitoring right after surgery, while also trying to keep the patient over there in their bed because they're climbing out because they are confused, or the other patient over here because they have a mental crisis and are becoming angry and violent, then honestly, how can one nurse accomplish this and keep you safe? We can't. We cannot. Are you okay with this? Are you okay with how our community hospitals in Duluth are choosing not to fix this crisis? Are you okay ending up in tears before we can finally rush to your room with your pain meds? Are you okay with soiling yourself after you called for assistance ages ago? As nurses, we have to prioritize airway, breathing, circulation. Any of our patients with these issues always come first. Our patients are now sicker than ever due to delays in medical care caused by COVID, so we're rushing more than ever to provide this care. But these staffing issues existed before COVID. In fact, in our last contract at St. Luke's in 2019 and the multitude of contracts prior, we were fighting for better staffing, one nurse to fewer patients. Nurses often work their 8 to 12-hour shifts with no breaks, day in and day out. Think of that, 8 to 12 hours. We often go home in tears, feeling like failures because we couldn't do it all, because we end up going home stressed, anxious, exhausted, injured, depressed, and we're left as shells of ourselves to our families. There are plenty of licensed nurses in the state of Minnesota, but they do not want to work in these risky and unsafe situations. Our nurse's greatest fear is missing something or harming a patient, and if harm comes to our patient under our watch, we have to live with that guilt, and we also risk losing our license. How then will we support our families?
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. All right, Clerk Johnson.
Our next speaker is Amber Hardwig.
Hello, Amber.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the platform for us to share our concerns. As stated in a recent Duluth News Tribune article, nursing is a calling. We came and remain at the bedside because we can't imagine doing anything else. However, we are unable to do the job that we are called to do safely, professionally, or adequately. This news article is an attempt to shift public support and opinion because nurses currently have overwhelming support from our local small businesses, elected officials, other unions, and the community as a whole that we serve. This propaganda is an effort to pit working-class citizens against working-class citizens, and it's not going to work. This is an age-old tactic, and we are smarter than that, and we are more united than that. We are not each other's enemy. Folks in the upper echelon of earnings are hoping to deflect attention from themselves while they themselves are earning up to and above 7 figures a year while sitting safely in their offices, free from exposure to COVID, HIV, hepatitis, physical and verbal violence. This news article is essentially gaslighting an entire community, which it claims to care for. This was not an economic strike. While there is, of course, economic aspects to our contract negotiations, as there always is, this was an unfair labor practice strike. If Essential wanted full transparency, they would have also printed what they paid the strike breakers and what they pay themselves. The actual bottom line that we're fighting for is we need more nurses. We are hemorrhaging nurses. We are constantly hiring and training new nurses. We have hiring bonuses and student loan forgiveness for brand new nurses that veteran nurses don't qualify for and have no equitable incentive to stay. I am a 15-year bedside veteran nurse. I still pay over $600 a month in student loans. I have $30,000 to go, more than 10 years. I watched hundreds of years of experience walk out the door because management won't accommodate the need for schedule changes or reductions. It is literally management's job to staff the floors. Yet shift after shift, nurses are texting and calling each other for help. We feel obligated to stay for overtime to not leave our patients and our coworkers in a dire situation. We need to retain our experienced nurses who have carried this hospital for decades and most recently through a deadly and unprecedented pandemic. Nurses also deserve a spot at the table deciding what is safe staffing. This is not something administrators can give even an educated guess about. We know what we need. We are here collectively demanding that they listen to us. We know, live, and do this job like no one else. Our patients and physician colleagues trust us, so should administration. Let's keep our profession the most trusted in our country by equipping us with the tools and resources we need to do the top quality job we are called to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. All right. All right. I hate to be the bearer of no fun here, but we do ask for no cheering or jeering in council chambers. So thank you very much.